Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the former classroom teacher turned homeschooling mom and private reading tutor behind Little Otters Learn. And here on my YouTube channel, as well as over on my Instagram page and my blog, I offer different homeschooling topics and tips and curriculum reviews and flip throughs like this one. This is a piece of curriculum. I don't want to call it a unit because the word unit actually seems to sort of diminish exactly what's in here. This could be a whole course of study. It is a multidisciplinary course, and it is produced by Ticket to Learning. Laura from Ticket to Learning reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to take a look at some of these resources in exchange for my honest review. And I had been following her for a while. She is a lovely human being. And I went on the website and I took a look. She was so generous in the resources that she sent me. So thank you so much to Laura. I will say here at the beginning, and I will tell you, and I've said this to my kids and I've said this to my husband, I cannot imagine the amount of time, effort, creativity that went into the development of this unit. As someone who also develops curriculum, way more simple than this, it's really hard for me to just imagine the work, the effort, the research, the planning, the editing, and everything else that went into the creation of this absolute masterpiece. I'm just in awe of what Laura has made. Again, I'm going to refer to it as a unit, but it really is like a multidisciplinary course. That would probably be more accurate. But it contains a few different key elements. It's based on a piece of historical fiction. The book is called Light Comes to Shadow Mountain. You are going to be using this guide. This is called the Adventure Guide. This is the printed version. You can also get a PDF. There is an additional language guide, which I have access to as a PDF. Once you purchase the curriculum, you will log into her website and you will have access to all of these documents in digital form. So I don't have the language guide. She was willing to send it to me, but I thought that I would just stick with the adventure guide. There's also an activity box that I'm going to show you. There's additional nonfiction texts, and then with your access to your account on the Ticket to Learning website, you're going to have a variety of digital resources, again, PDFs of these, and then an additional PDF that has some consumable resources. Okay, so let's get into it. This unit is based on the historical fiction novel titled Light Comes to Shadow Mountain. When you purchase the activity kit that I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes, you receive a beautiful hard copy of the book. The story takes place during the Great Depression in the Appalachian region of the U.S. The unit focuses on themes of electricity, herbalism, depression and mental health, community journalism, and more. According to the Ticket to Learning website, the unit is really ideal for kids ages 8 to 12. But that said, given the nature of the activities and the abundance of activities that's contained within the guide, you could easily make this a family subject for younger or even older students as well. So that's what I plan to do. I have a student who's kind of within that age, 8 to 12, and then a younger student, and I could easily do this with both of them. So this multidisciplinary unit is built around that core text, but it also includes history, geography, science, current events, applied mathematics, writing and language arts, arts and culture, arts and crafts, culinary arts, nature and outdoor education, and more than that. Laura, the creator behind Ticket to Learning, has developed a pretty extensive resource here that allows you to explore a variety of historical and cultural themes that are related to the book. For me, this is 100% our style. I love to take a piece of historical fiction and kind of make it come alive, to pull in all of those historical events and cultural events so that the learning is deeper than it would be if you had just read the book. So I'm going to open this up. So this course really could be your main approach to science, history, and literacy for a good portion of your school year. And sort of to use the metaphor of a train, to me, the book is kind of like the depot, and then the additional resources that are here in the adventure guide are kind of like the tracks that are going to lead you on many different journeys. So you're going to be taking many adventures based on that core text using your adventure guide, the activity box, and then the language guide, which I don't have in front of me, but you do have access to it if you purchase it on the website, or you can get a printed copy. So let's take a look. You have your required resources. You can see that this is a full color version, which is why I actually asked for the printed version. My printer only prints in black and white, and I felt like, you know, you kind of lose a little bit of that. If you lose a little bit of the beauty of this if you're printing in black and white. So here is the book that comes in the activity box. You have the link to some additional consumable resources. The consumable resources are really nice because they're in different categories and they're based on category rather than like chapter in the book. So if you only want resources from a particular type of category, type of activity, you will just print those. In addition, you're going to need some basic supplies. I will say that the activity box that I'm going to show you is kind of a great example of like all of the little tiny things that you would need for an activity that you might say, well, I could just get those at myself, right? Like I could just go to a craft store and just obtain them for myself. But having them together in the activity guide, already thought out, already there, is just, it's convenient and it's also very engaging. But I'll talk about that when I go through the activity box. Here is the language guide. This is filled with vocabulary, spelling, handwriting activities, and more. It is really very nicely done. If you are someone who wants to use this program as like your ELA program, you're definitely going to want to get the language guide. There are some resources. These two books are from Nomad Press. I've talked about Nomad Press before. I love their resources. You have two different levels that are meant for different age groups. You have these two books here are from Chicago Review Press. I think that's what it's called. I love their resources. It's like one of my favorite publishers for homeschooling nonfiction resources because they do a really good job of weaving together nonfiction information, but also activities within the books to make those particular themes come alive. And then a resource on the Great Depression. The opening of this is really nicely done. If you want an even more in-depth review of kind of how to use the beginning of the resource, you're going to check out Ticket to Learning, their own YouTube page, because Laura does a really good job of flipping through them. There's all these symbols throughout that allow you to see things like if there's an accompanying worksheet, if it's a timeline activity, if you're doing additional resource, if there's something in the activity box, something that's coming up that you might want to be aware of, and then if there's additional worksheets. You have you have symbols to represent different subjects that a particular activity is going to be sort of tapping into. And you have some additional information on how the lessons are structured. The lessons are structured in kind of this like, kind of broken up in a way where it has like core activities and then additional activities. And you're going to see how many activities that there are. It really is like a menu of options. Like you're not expected to do every single one of them, but there's ample. So you would use this as a guide to do your weekly planning. You'd go through and see, excuse me, which activities you're going to do. Let's see, the unit is based on, so there's a little bit about math in here. The unit is based on 22 different lessons. And you could, do one a day, or you can stretch each lesson out to a week. It's really very flexible because Laura has provided you with a menu of options to choose from. The first 2 pages of each lesson are the core activities, as I mentioned, and I'm going to kind of walk you through that. But here are the lessons here. There's, again, 22 of them. You have some notes. I wanted to show you. I'm not going to flip through the entire thing out of respect for Ticket to Learning and the work that they have put into this, but I want to show you kind of like the layout here. So you can see here, here's your core activities. There's a link on every single lesson page that will actually bring you to a page on the website that has all of these links. So I would have this out in front of me, and I would have this website on my, open on a browser on my computer so that I could easily, click on things there. You are going to have information on what you should be reading, what sections in Light Comes to Shadow Mountain, a brief video that you can watch that's pertaining to this particular topic. I'll just sit here for a minute so you can see there's additional videos and links. There are these think and consider questions. So these are nice, deep questions that will really lend itself to a discussion. The what does it mean section is going to get into some like language-based idioms and vocabulary. And then after those 2 core pages, you are going to have your explore more. Here's your symbols. So it tells you kind of like what area, what, field these or subject these particular resources tap into. Let's see, some of the videos I have watched, they're really nicely done. And what's kind of interesting about it is that she provides this, this little symbol that tells you how long it's going to take. So if you're like planning for the week and you say, okay, well, I want a video that we can watch over lunch, or I want to watch one that's going to take a little bit longer and I'm going to break it up, you have that information here. Here's your information center. This is rich with additional resources. I like that the activities here, like care was taken to identify activities that children would be naturally interested in based on their reading of the story. So, I sort of make these novel guides for my older learner, and I try to preview the text ahead of time. I try to come up with activities that I feel like the child would be interested in based on the book. And it takes, it takes a fair amount of time. So having everything here, like already thought out, is just such an incredible resource. I've read some of these books, like this book, The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek is just a great story. The Giver of Stars. These are, adult books that you're going to read or you can read. These are historical fiction that can sort of, I don't know, like get you in the mood. Oh my goodness, Demon Copperhead, incredible book. That will kind of get you in the mood, will sort of set the stage, will get you maybe invested and interested in the time period that you are going to be learning about alongside your child. So again, you can see the same format. You have lesson 2, so you have what you're going to be reading in Light Comes to Shadow Mountain. Intro video, here is the QR code that you can scan, or the website you can just type into your browser so that you have that up on your computer. You have some initial activities. This is about the pack horse librarians, which is just like a really interesting part of our history. There's herbalism is a theme in the book. So there's a little tab there. And then your think and consider, again, these aren't just like comprehension questions, like these are really meant to be kind of like, meaty, deep discussion questions. And then your what does it mean, which goes into idioms and other language-based sayings, and then vocabulary. And then again, you have your explore more. So you have some additional activities and they're all noted with the symbol. Some have more than others. Lesson 2 has quite a few. So again, you're going to be using this as a menu of options. You aren't expected to do every single one of them, but what a gift is it that Ticket to Learning has developed all of these resources for us. I'm just, again, I've mentioned it before, but I'm just absolutely in awe at the thoroughness and the creativity that went into creating this resource. So again, that is the adventure guide. In the back, you're going to see that there are sample schedules, which I think is really helpful. So you can sort of see how you would choose the activities, how you would structure your week. And if I remember correctly, I think Laura from Ticket to Learning on the Ticket to Learning YouTube page has kind of like a planning video where she kind of maps that out for you. Okay, there's also, let's see what else is in here. There's supply lists. There's mini unit planning tips as well in the back. Okay, so again, this is the adventure guide. In addition to this, there is the language guide, which I mentioned, and there is the activity box and a number of other resources. So here's the Ticket to Learning adventure box, activity box. I received this, I opened it. I opened the box up and I immediately closed it because I said, no way. No way am I going to just sort of enjoy this for myself. I'm going to experience the unboxing of this with my kids. And I will tell you that I have a lower elementary student and an upper elementary student and a toddler. And their little hands were inside this box. They were so engaged. They immediately were like, when can we start this? Okay, so it's not quite as pretty as it was when, when it was first sent to me. I just want to make sure I'm kind of in frame here. Okay. So, and I'm okay sharing this because I'm pretty sure that Laura has shared all this on her YouTube. And there's a description on the website, what's contained in the box. So you have this nice little pamphlet, which is kind of like, sort of an intro to all of the resources that are in here. This sticker is really cute, Appalachia. I think I pronounced it differently. you know, I grew up in one of the states where the Appalachian Mountains go through, so I probably say it incorrectly. There is a letter, which is so cool, from the author. My kids were so, they just thought this was like the coolest thing. And wait till you see what's in here. So I had mentioned this earlier, but one of the really cool things about this activity box is that everything is included in here. You're not going to have to be like, okay, well, I have most things, but I have to run to, you know, the dollar store or Michael's or my local craft store to get like this other random thing. Everything is here, like literally right down to like the potting soil you're going to need. So herbalism is a theme in the book. So you have here some dried herbs that you're going to use to make, I believe it's some sort of salve, and you have the other materials that you need to make that, and everything is just like everything is just packaged up so nicely. And I just think that that's great for like, you know, convenience, but also like engagement. I mean, my kids are just like, you know, so eager to start this unit because all of the resources look so engaging. You have your pots. There are some seeds in one of the packs, I believe. Here is the sticker. Here is the book. You can see that you receive a really nice hardcover version of the book. I'm so excited to read this. Historical fiction is one of my favorite genres. This is a book called Jack Tales. So these are going to be like folk tales from the region, and she's actually like tabbed the ones that are, you know, of particular interest and are mentioned in the adventure guide. All right, so obviously it's based in the Great Depression, and there is this like, the whole point is they're going to be bringing electricity to this particular region. So you have an electrical current kit, so you can tap into science here. And this is like very clearly marked. There's another, there's something else that goes with this, which I think maybe one of my kids already took out. But again, literally everything is in here. You have an embroidery kit along with all of the materials that you need for that, like right down to the thread that's already cut for you and the needles. It's, you know, really well thought out. Here's your seeds for your potting. You have this like little ticket, right? Because it's like the whole theme is your ticket to learning. You're going to be, you know, departing on this adventure together. You could use this as your bookmark. Because herbalism is a theme, you are going to be, you have this little zine, which is all about different herbs with different activities. There's recipes in here. Oh, here's the other electrical circuit kit materials. You have recipe cards. The recipe cards are really cool. So, I mean, talk about multidisciplinary learning. Like you could make some of these recipes, maybe choose, you know, one every couple of weeks. Here is the materials for the herbal kit. Maybe I will open this one for you so that you can see. Obviously, this is going to be a much longer video than my usual content, but it's totally worth it. So all of your instructions are here. I mean, this is what I mean, like the amount of time and effort that I went into this. A gardening journal, which I love. Put this over here. The main character is interested in journalism. One of my kids wore this for an entire day. We went to the playground and other kids were like, oh, cool, what is that? I was like, pulled the parent aside and was like, let me tell you what this is. So there are some resources related to journalism. You have your little reporter's notebook and even the pens. And this is what this is like, I know I keep saying it, but like the level of detail, like everything is thought out. You really don't, you need the activity box and you need some of the resources. And this is going to be the spine of your learning for a good chunk of your homeschool year. Or you can make it more simple and you can, you know, choose the activities accordingly. So I'm just going to put this back up. Okay, so I just want to thank Laura and Ticket to Learning again for sending me these resources. This is very, very generous to send all this to me, and it really kind of gave me, initially I sort of reached out to her and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just get this and this, and she sort of reiterated like, no, get whatever you need to get a good idea of the curriculum, which I really appreciate because you really do get a sense of the richness of this multidisciplinary unit when you see all of the materials that are involved. And obviously, there's a number of nonfiction resources, those Nomad Press ones, the Chicago Review resources that you would want to either get from the library or you can purchase right from her website. And then again, you know, as someone who corresponds with her on social media and I followed her for a while, I can tell you that she's just a very conscientious person. She cares deeply about making learning rich, meaningful, and engaging. And it really is, she's just the type of person whose work you want to support. I cannot wait to dive into this with my kids. This is going to be very rich and very engaging and really fun as family learning. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know down below. Follow Ticket to Learning on Instagram. Check out their YouTube channel. I'll link everything in the notes below. Thanks, everyone.